Looking for a new career?
I'm 44 years old.
That's okay. Today's Army is all-inclusive. You can be as old and as gay as you want.
Well, that's good to know. But I actually wanted to talk to you about my son, Jake Harper.
Harper. Oh, yeah. Wants to be a drone pilot.
Yeah, he told me. He thinks it's like a video game.
Oh, it is. It's exactly like a video game. Except we blow up real people.
Yeah, actually, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. I don't think my son should have access to flying bombs.
I understand your concern, but our training is unsurpassed. We take boys and turn them into men.
I know you think that. But you don't know him like I do.
He's 18, right?
Yeah?
Not currently on probation or under indictment?
No.
This is his signature.
Yeah.
Then if he passes the physical, he's signed, stamped, and off to camp.
I see. Oh, look, Al-Qaeda!
It's just a copy! This great city trusts you to keep it safe, and today you more than met that challenge. That's why I wanted to thank you for foiling this international arms deal.
Thank you, sir.
Good job, guys. Way to go.
Here's a few expenses that you accrued in the process.
A boat.
Her name was Lucille, sir. Lulu, I called her. Anyway, Captain Avery said that I should clear any reimbursements with you, Chief.
Who the hell's Captain Avery?
Exactly.
You paramedics who rescued that family? Yes, sir. You two boys are real heroes. Whole place could have gone now. Heard one of you applied for the academy.
We both did.
What are your names?
Todd Archer, Sean Donovan.
Okay, I want to be very clear on this. LaMarcus is a good person. He's just a kid with too much power who, I don't know, had a bad tweet.
And interview.
Okay, well, you know, Coach is going to right the ship. He just needs a little more time, right?
Need to make sure everybody's suiting up. There hasn't been a single defection from our side. It's theirs that's falling apart.
Well, hey, nothing's falling apart, okay? Everybody relax a little bit.
Three wide receivers just tweeted we're in. With the hashtag that's going viral, fix the system. Your other two stars, Bishop and Cornelius, could be next.
Orlando Bishop is my one and only captain. He is team first. He's not going anywhere. And Cornelius, frankly, can't stand LaMarcus. He wouldn't follow him into the Garden of Eden. He'll play.
One linebacker ain't plugging this hole. You're taking on water, fast.
Hey, he got blindsided just like the rest of us, all right? There's no reason to keep attacking him.
Here's an idea. Lean on the sophomores and freshmen who have something to lose. They won't want to risk their eligibility over this.
You'd love that, wouldn't you, Wes? We all know I can't field a competitive team with a bunch of 18-year-olds that haven't played a meaningful snap since high school. Fuck that. I'd rather not field a team at all.
So I can have my smokes back?
No, Frank, you can't. Trace metal in those match the ash found on top of Mikhail Kozlov's blood.
And the bullet that killed him matches your gun's rifling.
And the bullet that killed Grace Wong.
You murderous SOB. You murderous SOB, Tony Winters. All right. Just a little taste of my two very special guests for today. Welcome to How Do I Know You? This is show number 5, by the way, but this one is particularly special for me. I mean, I feel like breakdancing. These two cats are probably my most dearest and most loving friends. They're the ones who've known all the marriages, all of the divorces, all of the girlfriends. They know where all the bodies are hidden. And so I'm not going to go into an in-depth discussion about their long list of credits. You have seen them before on something, I guarantee you. So this is the first time I've had 2 guests on this show, so I just hope that I can get this technology to work. So first of all, let me bring on my friend, my buddy, Tony Winters.
That would be me.
Over you again, of course, Rich the Dick Whiten.
That would be me. I want to know why Winters got more airtime than I did.
I knew that was coming.
You knew it was coming. I'm sitting here like, you got to be kidding me. Like, okay, all right, I see how it is.
I looked on YouTube and I saw an old reel, and I did not upload it. I messed up. I was having all kinds of problems with this technology today, so I apologize.
Excuses. It's all good. It's all good.
It's all love. Am I right?
Yeah, it's all love.
Absolutely. and Rich, I can see you got the red T-shirt memo.
Yeah, you got the memo, definitely.
I have on blue because I have on a Dodger shirt because I'm paying homage to my Los Angeles semi-roots.
Go.
Yes.
No doubt.
It's so good to see you brothers in the house.
Good to be here.
And a part of my venture, my venture into podcast, video, interview, all that stuff. So one thing that I do when I have folk on is I talk about how we know each other. And I have to go with Winters first because, I've known him a little longer. So where do we meet, Winters?
We met at CBS Television City in Hollywood. We were working as extras. So I can pinpoint it. I only did extra work in 87, 88.
Mm-hmm.
So we were on The Bold and the Beautiful.
Yeah.
And we were in a scene in which we were dancing in a nightclub. And they give you like the first 30 seconds or 45 seconds of the song, and then you had to keep dancing after the music stopped so that the principals could speak. And everybody was all off beat after that. But I remember meeting you, man, and I remember this brother got this deep voice, and he's all intelligent and shit. Is it allowed to cuss?
Yeah, you can say what you want. Say it whatever you want. All good.
I thought you were so intelligent and just seemed to be so comfortable in your skin. And I don't know, man. And you had Michigan roots, Detroit roots, because I'm from the Motor City. So I just kind of took to you and said, "This dude gonna be my friend." And you were like a grown up when I first met you, man. You were married, you had children, you had a house. I was like, "Who is this dude?" You're all grown up.
How could I be like him?
Exactly.
That's hilarious. That's true. I was married and I think I had one kid. I don't get my son.
You had Colin. I'm sorry, Corinne, and Colin was on the way.
Oh, okay. So it must have been around 1990 then. It feels like it was longer ago than that, but I guess it had to be.
Okay. Maybe I got it twisted a little bit, but it seemed to me it could have been as late as 90.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I didn't do that much extra work. I kind of isolated all of my extra work to soaps. I've never done extra work on anything other than soap operas.
Same here. Well, no, that's not exactly true, but for the most part, it was soap operas. Because I got advice from a friend of mine many years ago. He said, do extra work on soaps because there's no rerun to come back and haunt you after you get your acting career started. So that made perfect sense to me. So I kind of hung around the soaps, but they started giving me under fives, and
yeah,
I became a principal player on daytime shows. Never landed a contract, unfortunately. Well, at least it happened to this date. But I was always a speaking actor on after a very short stint.
Our journeys are very similar. Although you're a bigger movie star, we're gonna get into that a little later. But it's that's kind of why I wanted to do this with both of you, because our journeys have gone back 30 years, and it's just very interesting. And all three of us, I think, have although we may not be the name A-listers, we have recognizable faces for a lot of people. So I think it's fun to have. What you say? What you said?
We're not A-listers.
We A-listers on somebody's list.
Somebody's list. Somebody got us on A-list. Indeed. So, Richard the Dick Whiten.
Yes, sir.
So, you got to remember how we met.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Man, speaking of 30 years, I literally moved to LA in 1993. So that would be 30 years come September.
Wow.
And I was young, footloose, and fancy-free, single, as wanted to be. And I met Lisa DeVoe at the post office. She was coming down the steps. I said, ooh, wait. So So I introduced myself, and she invited me to a party at her house, and met Darla Beadle, who was doing skits for singles, so that singles could, meet singles and hook up and, eventually get married, and all that kind of good stuff. And that's when you and I met. So that was literally this 1993, like October, November, maybe. Something like that. So and literally met you, and we hit it off. Same thing. I was like, "Who's the brother with the deep voice?" And then literally a few months after that, they did another skit, and you weren't available, so you had your substitute, which was Tony Winters. And when I met Tony Winters for the first time, we were at Sharman Lee's crib for rehearsal, and I'm sitting there looking at him. He's sitting there looking at me. I'm looking like, who's this dude? And we hit it off.
I know I've told this story ad nauseum, Rich, so forgive me, but I was pissed off at him. I knew who he was because Rich had beat me out on a role on Living Single that a friend of mine who was a writer on the show had gotten me an audition for. And so when he walked in, I said, here's this nigga again.
See, I felt that. I knew it was, I didn't know what it was, but I felt something.
Well, you should have, because it was nothing but daggers coming from my eyes, man.
Yeah.
No, but I've grown to love Rich, and you like to play cousin, man. So
exactly.
Over the years,
so,
man.
That's the beauty. I know you're gonna get into stuff like this later. I just want to add, that's the beauty of this business. You know what I mean? Yeah. Coming across people who you up for the same roles. One gets it, but you love the person when they're good people, and you remain friends. Like I said, this has been 30 years. I know it's longer for you guys because y'all are older than me, but that's a long time.
Well, it's funny, so when you came out here, Richard and Tony, either one you can answer. Did you have like a time limit that you thought it would take you to get to whatever, whether it's a series or whether it's on the top of a film? How long did you think? Did you give yourself? Because I gave myself a deadline, which I'm way, way beyond right now. What about y'all? Tell me about that.
I'll just jump in real quick because I shook my head no at first. I thought you were saying a time limit of if it don't happen within a certain amount of years, I'ma quit. So I was like, nah. But I did have a time limit when I first got here. I thought I was going to take Hollywood by storm. And I just knew I was going to be a star within the first couple of years. And which obviously that did not take place. And thank God it didn't. Because I might not be sitting here today if I was a star right away.
Right.
But
I agree. Yeah.
But no, I appreciate this journey that God has blessed me with. And I did give myself, thinking that it was going to happen right away. But I am more grateful, that as I say that, I'm thinking, oh, Lord, when is it going to really happen? But I am more grateful that it has, taken the journey that I'm on,
Yes.
So, it's beautiful.
What about you, Tom?
When I was in San Diego and I was doing a lot of theater, I met a lot of professional actors who were LA based. So I had a chance to really talk with them and pick their brains. So I knew coming here, I said, because I had kind of heard this phrase, it takes 20 years to be an overnight success. Mm-hmm. So I knew it was going to be a long, slow process.
Look at the pictures.
And I never gave myself that timeline. I never did. So I was in it for the long haul, and I knew that from jump. So I never had that monkey on my back of, I got to get this done by 5 years or 10 years or what have you. I just never had that issue.
I had a 5-year window. And I'm not saying that I thought about quitting after the 5 years, but I had a 5-year window. I thought 5 years and I'll be like on a TV show was kind of what my goal was. And, and I still had never had a series. I'm recurring on one right now, but I have never had, I've never even been on like a veil for a pilot or anything. I very rarely have even auditioned for pilots. That's probably pretty shocking, but it's true over the time that I've been working out here. So there's no way to predict how things are going to go for you. But three of us have collaborated. Tony led the way with retiring Tatiana. And so we've collaborated on my projects, on Tony's project, how many readings we've done together. I think that's the beauty of what we have here. But comment, if you would, you guys, on how important building your own tribe is in terms of just giving you a life outside of the tactic part of just pursuing this business and getting shot down and the wins and the losses. Because for you guys, it's everything for me. You guys are a part of my survival story. Yeah.
Same, man.
Well, once again,
go ahead, Rich.
I just want to take this, the first one again for this time, is because I love you, brother, so much. And I look up and respect brothers so much. And you two have no idea how much you guys inspire me and motivate me. And you two, speaking of, having your tribe, you two are part of the reason I'm still in this game.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you guys recall, like years ago, like probably 20 years ago, calling you guys on the phone separately, talking about, oh, how did so-and-so blow up overnight? How did this happen for them? How did this happen for them? Blah, 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 blah. And, just getting advice from you guys. And it's like, you need that to help you keep going. You need to hear from your peers and people that you ain't the only one going through this. You know what I mean? And just being blessed to have friends such as the both of you, when you do have projects hire your friends, you know. And that's how you got good friends, when your friends hire you. You know what I mean? So very important.
Most of us, not all, but most of us come here from different places, and we leave our families behind. The people that raised us, our brothers and sisters, our cousins and extended family, and we come here and we know no one. And I started to build my tribe through the theater, because that's what I knew from San Diego. That's how I got started. So when I got to LA, I started pursuing the same thing, doing theater, and I got to know people in that process who are still, part of my tribe today. Yeah. You guys are definitely my my ride or dies, but it extends beyond you guys, and it's nice to know that you have a community here. And let me just take this a little bit further. Growing up in Detroit, I always felt slightly out of place, and I've never been able to quite figure out why. I just always felt slightly out of place. Then when I got to San Diego, it was closer to the mark, but it wasn't quite what I was looking for. But when I got to LA, I said, this is where I belong. This is absolutely where I belong at this time. So, and forging these relationships is vitally important, because like Rich said, sometimes you have to lean on your family during lean times, and there will be lean times. Yeah. And I'm not talking about just financially. I'm just talking about
life
in general. I'm not even talking about the travails of being an actor. I'm just talking about life in general.
Life in general.
We've all been together through weddings and divorces and deaths and births, and it's a challenge. So having great friends like you guys are, to me, has been worth its weight in gold.
Y'all recognize that picture I just put up?
Wedding number 2.
That was your second marriage. Was that wedding number 3, 5, or 6?
That's definitely number 2.
That was your 5th marriage, Carl. That was your 5th marriage.
That 5th, yeah. That was my 5th one. Thank God that's not true. But it was certainly the second one, and my only, I guess, real wedding, so to speak. And both of you guys were in that wedding. Both of you. Yeah, so that, to your point.
As were you guys in mine.
Right.
And that's right.
Right. Both of you guys were in mine.
Sorry, I didn't have you
Richard
guys in
allowed
mind.
people in his wedding.
Sorry, I
but-
didn't have you guys in mind, but it was a Zoom wedding.
Hey, so I got a question that came to me. First of all, I tend to prep these, but my life has been so crazy here, and I didn't really need to prep so much for you guys because, we just want to have a conversation. So, I think the three of us have been in situations where, we thought that we were at that point of breakthrough, and then it didn't happen. Or that role that we were on a veil for, we went for, we thought we were perfect for, and it didn't happen. Is there anything you want to discuss with the audience about that feeling, or give specifics of that experience as it relates to how you guys have dealt with that? Anything? Because I know Tony and I talk all the time. Actually, Richard, I know you're busy, with other things, with me. But Tony and I talk almost every week, and we go through this whole thing about auditions and stuff. And the other thing is, you and I, Richard, I don't think I've ever been up for the same role that I'm aware of. Yes? No? But you and Tony?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
I know of. Yeah, that's weird.
Right.
But me and Tony have been up for the same role. And you and Tony have been up for the same role. But you and I have never been up for the same role that I can.
Yeah, I'm about halfway between both of you guys.
Right.
Yeah.
But I know if it's a get the girl role, I'm gonna lose to Richard Whiten every time.
Every time. Every time.
Every get the girl role, Rich is gonna get it.
Oh,
Well,
man. I'm glad I'm
Hey,
wearing a red shirt, so you can't see me blushing. But, man.
Well,
Carl, I've read for some pilots. I closest I remember I came to a series was very early on. I got a pilot called LA Takedown.
yes.
Michael Mann produced it and later made a movie called Heat using basically the same script. And while I was a guest star on the pilot, he walked up to me and my then girlfriend, who both of you guys know. He said, Michael Mann says, "Hey, when we go to series, you're in." I was like, thank you, Jesus. Because I just knew it was going to be a shoe-in because Michael Mann was hot off Miami Vice. And, he was a big name in the industry. And ABC didn't pick it up. And they picked up a show called Night Watch.
Yeah.
With Don Franklin and Benjamin Bratt. And so that was my first big disappointment. So ever since then, I've come close on a couple of major projects. But ever since then, Carl, I've always tended to focus on the journey. I never really looked at a destination or, my life was, I guess I realized early on that life began, I was already living my life. It didn't begin after I got a television series or I became a major name in motion pictures. This was now, and I was going to live my life as completely and fully and as out loud as possible.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
Well, I wish I was as intelligent and sound-minded as Mr. Anthony Winters over here, but that ain't the case for me. Those are just great words, to live by in this business. You know what I mean? The older I get, I have come to realize that.
Meaning that it's about the journey, not the destination?
Right. And that's why you need a tribe of people like us. And, a big help for me to keep me going in this business was my father. And he was my best friend. I know Richard Lyons likes to think he is, but my father was my real best friend. And, spiritually and astrologically, he used to always, instill wisdom and things, inspiration in me to keep me going. My first major disappointment, I was up for a series role and series regular on Soul Food back in 2000. It was me. We went to network. It was me, Mike Whaley, and Rockman Dunbar.
Right.
And, we kept jumping through the hoops. Then we got to the final audition. And I remember just like yesterday, it was me, Mike Whaley, Rockman Dunbar in the lobby, separated, going through our own process. And the elevator door opens, and Tracy Edmonds, executive producer, steps off the elevator and very loudly goes up to Rockman Dunbar, gives him the biggest hug, and says, "Oh, we're all rooting for you."
Oh, wow.
Look at this. I said, "Oh, God, why am I here?" Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, why am I here? So needless to say, not only did I did not get the part, but I also did not have the best audition because I couldn't get that out of my head. Like,
Oh, that was before the audition.
That was before the audition.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
So I'm like, she did that on purpose.
That'll
she
rattle
saw me
your
and Mike
cage.
Whaley standing there. You know what I mean? You know. So come to find out later, I believe that Tracy Edmonds had a management company as well. And
yes, she did.
She was managing Rockman Dunbar. You know. So anyway. That's the business. You know what I mean? Love the craft, not so much the business.
You know, I was going to ask you about that because, you know, Rockman lives here in Atlanta, and I've hung out with him a couple of times. And every time I
Good for you, Carl.
No, what I'm saying is, I remember you telling us, well, I don't remember the Tracy Edmonds story, but I do remember you being up for that part and you telling me about it. So I never heard the Tracy Edmonds story though, but that's pretty interesting, you know.
Yeah,
pretty interesting story, and that's the business.
That's
for
the business.
Sure.
Right, no doubt.
So a few years ago, it's been quite a few years now. I was up for a pilot on Comedy Central called The Clinic. It was like a spoof of daytime soaps. It starred Adam West, Batman,
right?
And I was up for a series regular as this. I guess he was an assistant. He wasn't a doctor, but he was Adam West's assistant on the show, and it was just me and this brother, Oreo. Light-skinned brother, you kind of made a name for himself on General Hospital.
Right.
Anyway, he ended up getting the part. But the very next day, I went to the laundromat, and I'm in there doing my laundry, and in walks Adam West.
What?
He said, "Detective Russo." Whatever his character's name, I couldn't remember. Oh, well, anyway, they hired me as a guest star. So I did like 3 episodes of the show. And when we wrapped, I ran into Adam West the next day. And we walked across the street to the NoHo Diner on Magnolia. And we had breakfast. And he would whisper. Everything he spoke to me. I said, why you whisper all the time? He said, because people recognize my voice. And next thing I know, the waitress comes over and she said,
hilarious.
I know that wasn't the story you were looking for, but it was
a great story.
I mean, if you hang out in this business long enough, there's all kinds of stories with, you know, known people, famous, semi-famous people that we interact with. And that's kind of part of the journey that I've enjoyed as well. So, Whiten, you know, you are one of my favorite storytellers. You know that?
If you didn't tell me plenty of times before, I wouldn't have known it. But I appreciate
so
you saying it every time you say it.
I want you to take a choice. I want you to tell us the Morris Chestnut story or the other story. What's the other one that you were just telling me about?
I just told you that the other day about The Rock.
Yeah, The Rock. One of those will be fine. I don't think I know The Rock story, so let's hear that story then.
Well, I'm gonna tell the Chestnut first. Okay. You know, just being an actor in this business, it's you know, when you're a good guy, it's hard to date because you know, when you want a serious relationship, your money is always funny. You know what I mean? You know, and so I just remember, and you know, and us as men. You know, I'm not going to speak for men in general, but I'm just going to speak for myself. You know, I got an ego, right? You know, and I like it to be stroked every now and then, right? So I remember, just like yesterday, this was like 20 years ago, back in the 90s. I had a young lady I was dating early on, and we happened to be together. And we were lounging and we were watching television, and the commercial came on. And she was visiting from out of state, so she really doesn't know about this business, and she doesn't know who I know and who I'm friends with. You know what I mean? So Morris Chestnut, some movie he was in, and a commercial came on, and I know Morris. That's my boy. He's cool when I see him. So she's, cuddled up to me, and she's like, "Ooh, Morris Chestnuts." I was like, first of all, it's chestnut. It's singular. One chestnut. You know what I mean? And I'm looking at her like
it's not plural.
All over the... Right, exactly. It ain't plural. Like, why are you drooling over this brother? Yeah, he's good looking. I know it. I can see it. But you ain't got to drool in front of me. You can do that. You got plenty of girlfriends. You can drool over, like that,
right.
That type of thing. And just another time going out on a first date with this young lady. This is also about 20 years. A lot of things happened in the 90s or the early 2000s. We went to the Cheesecake Factory and we're sitting at the bar waiting for our table. TV always gets you in trouble. So the TV was on at the bar and a commercial came on and it was The Rock. And he was doing something and she looks up and she says, "Ooh, The Rock. Ooh, that's a real man." I looked at her. I was like, don't play me. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, is The Rock paying for this shit? Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So needless to say, that was our very last date. And, but, just the journey of the funny, stories over the many years dealing with different women while enjoying this lovely career.
Yeah.
Just being a doctor or being, I can't imagine being any other kind of profession. And I don't know, that bothering me or that even happening.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, we're glad that you have your beautiful Emmy because she rescued you from yourself, Like my wife rescued me from myself.
Amen.
And that's blessed. I remember back in the day, where I love you, Dick, but I would go out with you just so I can get your spillover.
Exactly. that was always the thing with Rich. You knew you were second choice.
Oh, man.
You don't care. You don't care about being second choice.
You played your role. It was like, okay, she's stepping to us. She really stepping to him. But maybe I can get with a girlfriend over here.
Exactly. It's LA. It's LA. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I love you, brothers. That's all I got.
Hanging with Rich, I never told you this, Rich, but I've told other people. I said, hanging with Rich is like hanging with the captain of the football team. Pretty much what it's like.
Man, I appreciate it. Take that picture down.
Oh, you should see the last one he posted of me. I'm like, oh, man, come on, bro.
So this picture was also at that same wedding. And there was at least 6 or 7 women who were asking about you at that wedding. That they were in the wedding mainly.
And I was single then too, and you ain't say nothing.
I'm sorry. I think that they might have already made it known, and you probably shot them down. That's probably what actually happened. You were kind of discerning. There were women who would you would just get out of here. Next.
Oh man, you so silly. That was a gnat.
All right, so listen, I want to pivot to a couple of last things. Mainly our brother Winters, who's flying high on something very cool. You did this National Champions film, which I showed a clip from earlier, that I thought you were outstanding in. It was a really great, perfect role for you, and a perfect vehicle for you to be in with great, terrific actors. Sometimes you appear in a scene with someone, you're great, but also you're elevated because of the talent in the room as well. And that is I'm so happy for you, man.
I remember when I got that script, man, I was pretty blown away that I was going to be in all these scenes. I was going to be doing all this wonderful dialogue with this A-list talent, which has never happened before. Mm-hmm. And I worked with some incredible people, but I had not that intensely, not that intimately. Yeah. And it was really the best project that I've ever been a part of. So I felt truly blessed by National Champions.
Yes. And you got something else coming up. Talk about that for a second.
I'm in a new film called The Supremes at Earl's All You Can Eat.
Who do you play in that?
and I play Big Earl.
So
The
your
owner of
character
the
is the damn
establishment.
name of the damn title of the movie. What is
Yes,
that?
yes,
So
indeed.
incredible. Yeah, so talk about it some more, man.
It's it stars Sanaa Lathan, Anjanou Ellis, Uzo Aduba, Mekhi Phifer, Russell Hornsby, Vondi Curtis Hall, and a few other notables.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about the friendship of these three young ladies that I dubbed the Supremes on one day in 1968 in my restaurant. And it explores their relationships over the next 30 years. And my character, Earl, is just one of those seminal figures in the community who, you know, if you know your Bible, I can't, I'm blanking on the exact verse, but, you know, if you're naked, he'll give you clothing. If you're hungry, he will give you food. If you're cold, he will give you shelter. That's the kind of guy Earl is. I actually saw it in a test screening a couple of weeks ago, and it's an emotional, compelling, uplifting film, and I was pretty blown away that I'm in this masterpiece, man. It really is a beautiful piece of work, and super proud that Tina Mabry, our director, gave me the nod on that one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, we're well. I can speak for Richard. I'll speak for myself. And Richard will always. I know he feels the same way. When you got that, because I auditioned for that too, and I was very happy to see that you got it. Because it's like we always talk about. You know, you go for these roles, and you mentioned this earlier. You know, if you don't get it, you certainly hope that somebody who you really care about gets it.
No, Richard said that. I don't feel that way. I resent anybody. No, yeah, absolutely, man. You feel that way. You know, I felt that way about you, and you know, all the many blessings that you've gotten in this career. You know that if something doesn't fall my way, I'm definitely hoping for one of my brothers to get it. You know, keep it in the family.
Yes.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So, Brother Whiten, I was looking at this bounce show the other day, and did they give you more love? Like, did I miss how many episodes of that did you do?
I only did 2. I'm in the pilot, and then I'll be in the final episode of the first season.
Oh, that's why I didn't see it, because it's coming later. So you took your clothes off in that. Is that correct?
How'd you hear that? I know I didn't share that with you. Did I tell you that?
I think I told you that. Didn't I? I told you that about him.
I thought you both told me, but I don't remember.
No. I know I didn't tell you, but yes. So, ladies, make sure to watch the final episode of season 1 of Act Your Age. Yes, because those ladies are definitely not acting their age. Yeah.
Can I say that was another role I read for that he got? That's a get the girl part, Richard Whiten. But that's okay. That's okay.
Well, I got kicked to the curb in the very first pilot episode.
I'm gonna be on that next season, and I'm gonna get the girl.
We're gonna be working together in the second season.
Tony, they wouldn't want you to take your shirt off, man. So I don't know.
Oh, they want some of this, man. I was at the gym yesterday. Y'all called me when I was at the gym yesterday. I've been working on this body, man.
We know he wasn't working out. We know just what he was doing at the gym. And it wasn't working out.
I was definitely working. Thank you very much.
So, Whiten, let me ask you this. So, what do you, because we haven't talked about what's going on with you. What's going on that I should look out for? We should look out for that you got coming up.
Yeah, besides the final episode of season 1 of Act Your Age, I also had a recurring on this Apple TV show called, they keep changing the name. It was Della Corte, then it was Mrs. American Pie. Now I looked up on IMDb and it's called something else. I can't think of what the name of it is, but it's Apple TV. And you talk about A-listers. It's starring Wig, Allison Janney, Laura Dern. It's got some folks up in this thing. And even Carol Burnett is in it. Carol Burnett blew me away. She looked at me, had a big old smile on her face. I said, oh my God, you looked at me. Yeah, it was. And she smiled. I was like, Carol Burnett. Like, wow, I was blown away. So yeah, it's some amazing people in this show. I'm in 2 episodes. I think it's only like 10 episodes. I think I'm in episode 8.
Is it Palm Royale?
Yes.
I'm looking at it right now. You play Agent Clune.
There you go. That would be me.
Looking right at it.
Yeah,
that is like, I mean, so we grow up watching these people.
Mm-hmm.
And then we come to this town and we end up on sets with them and they smile at us like, oh my God. I had similar experience with that very early in my career on a show I did with Don Rickles. And I did not believe that I was on the set with Don Rickles. And then he started insulting me at the end. And they actually showing off the air, but even when they ran the show, you know, they do like those bloopers at the end. So at the end of the episode, you see Rickles clowning me at the end on the bloopers. It's just classic. And
hilarious. Nice.
So, you know, me too. So that's really the beauty in what we do. We get to, you know, because we all love the art. We all love, you know.
Yeah. Let me just I'm sorry to interrupt. Let me just tell you one more story about Palm Royale. Was another beautiful thing is, speaking of working with legends and when they acknowledge you or whether they make fun of you or not. Jenny, when she came, when somebody introduced us on set, she looks at me and she shakes my hand and says, "It's good to see you again." And and at the same time, I said, "Nice to meet you."
Right.
And she looked at me. I was just so nervous, I didn't know what to say, right? She says to me, "Good to see you again." And I say to her, "Nice to meet you." I knew I had met her before, but it was like 20 years ago on a set of West Wing. And I didn't think that she would remember me. Like, you know what I mean? You know, and it was something that she gave me some advice on the set of West Wing like 20 years ago. It was a scene and we needed energy. And everybody, because they kept redoing that same take. And she said that, I forgot who the actress was who told her, but one of her mentors gave her some advice in her early career, where she says, when you need energy right before action, just, you know, this creates energy. Action. Now you're in the scene and you're filled with energy. You know what I mean? So, yeah, just, you know, just like this. So she gave me that advice that some star from the early 1900s gave her early in her career. She gave me that advice 20 years ago. And ever since then, I always use this. Like if I'm behind stage and I have to make an entrance on action, you know what I mean? And I need to be filled with energy, because this helps kill my nerves. Because, you know, you're sitting back there nervous. You're like, okay, when do I go? What do I say? What am I lying? You know, you do this, you got the energy and you go. So I had the opportunity to tell Alice and Jenny this story. And the fact that I blew it on our first introduction on the set of Palm Royale, you know, I was like, I'll never get that chance again, because she was always busy. After we wrapped one night, I went into the dressing room to take my makeup off, and there she was, all by herself. A couple of ladies taking her makeup off. And I said, Alice, Miss Alice and Jenny. She said, yes. And I told her that story. She was so excited and just so blown away that, you know, that I took her advice, and she was just so excited to tell me more stories and talk, you know. So that was just really great, man. And that's just another beautiful thing about being in this business for so long, you know, because you get to meet and greet and re-meet and share stories.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because these are, I mean, I won't say it, I'm not saying it in a negative way, but we, you know, it's okay for us to have heroes, even though they are still our contemporaries. But it's almost like honoring your elders, so to speak.
Right. Yeah, no doubt.
You
no
know,
doubt.
So,
if I can circle back to, we're just talking about Don Rickles.
Yes.
It's just a story I heard that I wanted to share on this podcast. And it's really not my story to tell, but I got to tell it. Ernest Hardin Jr.
Yes.
He had worked with Ernest Hardin Jr. on something. They were outside I guess they were at a rap party, if I remember the story correctly. And they were both out there waiting for their cars. And Don Rickles turns to Ernest and says, "You're the darkest human being I've ever seen." Only Don Rickles could get away with that. I thought that was the funniest thing I'd ever heard.
That was hilarious.
Yeah. But I think if I don't know if you're trying to wrap up here, Carl, but just to piggyback on what Richard said about, you know, working with a legend and meeting a legend, for me and forever, it'll always be Sidney Poitier on a set of sneakers. And I had read his book, his first autobiography called This Life when I was in college. Mm-hmm. And during a break in filming on sneakers, in which I only had one line, but I had a week on the project. I'm sitting down on the set, and Sidney comes and sits down next to me. And I'm sitting there, it's like, I don't remember exactly how it started, but we started to converse. And there's a story that he tells in there when he first went to the Negro Ensemble theater to audition. He was so bad, he was so terrible, he barely spoke English, could barely read. The guy, and he had been working as a dishwasher in and around, you know, Manhattan. So the guy grabs him, the guy conducting the audition grabs him by the, you know, his collar and throws him out of the door and says, "Go get a job washing dishes." And I can yeah, and he said he's walking down the street and he's, for the life of him, he can't figure out how the hell this guy knew he was a dishwasher. And he said that has been his motivating factor throughout his whole life, throughout his whole career. He wanted to show that guy that he was an actor. And we sat there on the set and we laughed about it and bonded. And he was it was so wonderful. I couldn't believe that I was sitting there talking to Sidney Poitier, you know, after. When I was a kid, we used to have the 4:30 movie in Detroit, and it would be Paul Newman week or Tony Curtis week, and sometimes even Sidney Poitier week. You might remember, Carl, you're a Detroiter.
I do remember.
The 4:30 movie, and you know, I would see the Defiant Ones and the Lilies of the Field, and you know, they called me Mr. Tibbs, whatever, and to find myself sitting next to him talking about it on the set. You know, even though I only had one line, I was his contemporary for that week. You know what I mean? And that's just a beautiful thing. It's one of those life moments.
Yeah.
Oh man. So we could talk like forever and ever, but we're gonna wrap this up. And brothers, Anthony L. Winters, Richard F. Whiten, the only people men you love, you can know their middle initials. Thank you, man, for being here, both of y'all. And thank you. Thank you. Any closing words? We know what's coming up with Tony. We know what's coming up with you, Richard. And we're done.
Give my love to LaTanya.
Absolutely. And to Ami as well, Richard.
Yes.
I'm going to close out this program with a couple of clips. One, the trailer from Retiring Tatiana that we all three of us worked on. And then, of course, the scene in the cigar bar from season 1 of 2 Degrees. I'm going to close it out. And I may cut it out a little bit later, but I just want to have it there. All right, y'all.
Hey, thank you,
gentlemen.
Thank you for this, Gilliard. I had a great time, man.
Me too. Good to see y'all. It's a good reason for me to see my friends after my migration to where am I at now? Oh yeah. Peace, y'all.
All right, take it
I want to throw me a big retirement party down at the Knights of Columbus Hall.
I wouldn't miss it for the world.
It might be nice if you brought somebody with you.
Hello?
Yo, CC. It's Drew.
Who?
It's Drew. I'm coming home from Pops' retirement party and I'd like you to come with me.
Oh, I can't do that.
What do you mean you can't do that?
So what about that chicken I turned you on to? Say, Tatiana Michael? Yeah, but your family will love her.
I am alluring, attractive.
And your darling.
I want you to come home with me.
Sorry, but I'm not going to stay with this screaming baby for the next 3 hours.
Domestic car. What a concept.
Oh, dude, that's why I just prefer to pay.
Diana Ross left Detroit years ago, but the bitch is back. She upstairs like candle.
Namyo Renge Kyo.
Brother got to be on his J.O.B.
Think I can get an autograph?
Does being a jackass come naturally, or do you have to work at it?
Tatiana.
Oh, that was a good line.
Everybody sleep. Drop your shorts.
I am actually a descendant of the Mandingo tribe.
Can I have a drink?
Somehow I knew that.
Play with that.
Tony nominated Nikki Crawford.
I heard you nominated Nikki Crawford.
How'd you hear about that?
Facebook.
Yeah, it was Facebook, right?
Yeah, it was Facebook.
But T, you're not on Facebook.
No, I ain't on Facebook. But your ass is on Facebook. And your business is everywhere, man.
Everywhere. I told you about social media, man.
Next time, brother, just put your face in a book.
Jokes.
Look, we're here on behalf of Carl. This is an intervention. I mean, this cat is forever on Facebook. Did you see his last post or the post before that and the other post? And have you seen the stuff about his divorce?
All the time.
Oh, man. It's pitiful. Yeah, he is pitiful. In fact, where is he? He's late.
No, he's not. You want to know what Carl is? Check the damn timeline. Look.
This dude right here.
Man, that brother and this posting on Facebook, man.
It's crazy, man. The dude does like live Facebook. He does recorded Facebook, man. Every time I look up, he's liking something, or it's a wow or angry, man. It's redundant, man.
Wait, you know what he always
do all the time? Twice married brother. It's too much. It's too much with the twice married brother. I know his kids got to be embarrassed.
They are. They are. I saw his daughter out just last week. She had on a t-shirt that said, "Not Carl's daughter." Incognito.
You won't believe this.
What's up?
He's upstairs posting. He's been here the whole time.
It's on Facebook.
Come on, man.
It was on the timeline.
You know how I found out you were here?
Facebook.
Facebook.
Facebook. Bruh.
You posted that joint already, man.
I need to pray for this Negro.
Hi, guys.
This is not a social situation, Carl. We're here in an effort to help you save you from yourself.
Yeah, brother.
My brother, this incessant posting that you do on Facebook and all the social media stuff you do, it's got to stop now. And now is today.
Nigga, this shit here, it really has to stop, man. I mean, LaDonna don't deserve all this. Look at this, man.
He's being kind of extra.
It's too much. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's excessive.
That's insane. Your marriage is over, brother. And all this whining on Facebook ain't gonna change that. And this man code thing between me and you, I never liked your ass. Have I ever liked this nigga? Have any of y'all ever heard me say that I like this nigga?
Y'all was school at the Pan African Film Festival.
Yeah. Well, you know, off days, you know. But you know what? If y'all gonna do any intervening on all this posting and carrying on, just take his phone.